Hello there, aspiring tennos. I've done the numbers so that you don't have to. Today we're going to talk about which relics to open for the most profit, both intact and as a 4-man squad as a radio. We're also going to talk about opening compared to farming and selling to other players. We'll talk about which frames are the most likely to increase in price, so basically which relics you should open in terms of long term. And then we'll also talk about, if you're really sweaty, reinvesting the gains you'll get from this event. Now, these videos take a long time to make, and I can't really compete with the algorithm. So, could you please help me by subscribing to the channel and checking out our Discord? It would be a huge help. Also, I have a Twitch now, you might want to check that out. That would be a huge help. Leave a like. Help out a bro. Tit for tat. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's talk about my method. Don't worry, I'll make it quick. I won't waste too much of your time here. So if we look at this spreadsheet real quick, here for example we have the list V7. We have a 34% chance that this is if everyone is running rad, for at least seeing the golden reward once per mission in, per role basically. Then of the remaining percentage we have a 59%, and that, that equates to 39% total. So basically these decrease in how much you want them, and you obviously pick one over the other. That's why the percentages get smaller and smaller as we proceed. Anyways, so I've done that for all of the relics, and let me just go ahead and show you my results. So now before we look at this over here, let's go ahead and just go through this. So these are all of the relics that's available this time around, and as you can see here, their prices vary. If for some reason you just want to run them intact, you should go ahead without a squad. You should do it, you can do it with a squad, that's going to give you a little bit more profit, but if you're going to look for a squad, you should probably do Radiant. Anyways, you're going to get a 16.4 per run just for doing this. And if you want to do the full squad, you absolutely want to do this one Radiant, where you're going to get a 35.5 platinum on average per run. Alright, now let's go ahead and see what it looks like hourly. So if we go ahead and we look over here, there it is. So basically, let's just pretend like we can get through a relic in 4 minutes. I don't feel like that's unrealistic at all. So this here is the intact profit. If you just want to buy the best intact and then run that, which you can do to get a void trace and then run these. So this is if you only run this, and this is if you only run intact, and if you combine them strategically, this is how much you can make. So that's 227. Obviously that's on screen, I guess you can see that, my bad. And we have the buy price up here, so this is the price that we're buying each relic for. Remember, it can never be worth it to both farm it and then open it. It's either better to buy it and open it, or farm it and sell it, obviously. Now, that's basically all there is to opening up the relics themselves, but is it better to open them or is it better to farm them? Let's go ahead and take a look at that now. This spreadsheet here is from my ultimate guide. And I've said this so many times, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it here, but the long story short is that it's better to farm it and sell it. So this here is Brute Force on Damus, which is basically always available. If it's not available from the Necrolisc, then go ahead and get it directly on the Cambion Drift. Do that by starting the level 40 to 60 bounty in the Necrolisc, then going out in the Cambion Drift and finding Mother there. This is almost available, and if it is not, then you can do Salus instead, which is a little bit more annoying, but whatever. So you can get almost 12 Aya per hour, and you can sell Aya for 12 platinum. You might have to wait for 1 or 2 days after the weekends, but that's not, come on, you can wait for that. So this comes out to, I think about 150 platinum, or probably close to 140 just about. So this alone, just farming the Aya, buying the relics and then selling them, that's already better if you're buying the right relics, of course. But then also on top of that, you're gonna get almost 9,000 endo an hour, which means that if you farm this for 12 hours this week, then you will be able to max out a couple of prime mods as well, which is not too bad. Hoover, not important. Amber Stars, not important. But this is very important. These mother tokens matter a lot. You can buy the Basmund for 125 mother tokens on the Night of Nabarus, and these are each worth 40 platinum right now. So you get 150 per run, which you can get in quite a few of in an hour. And if each of those are worth 40, that's obviously a lot of long-term profit. So keep that in mind. Now moving on. Stepping away from the math for a second here, this is more opinionated, but take it from someone who has observed this market for many years, who have seen the same tendencies repeat themselves over and over again. And yes, I have looked very carefully at these tendencies during this event, and while they have been disturbed by this prime resurgence, as the opportunity to buy a specific relic has closed, the market has slowly started to return to its normal tendencies. Let's just say it that way. So we're going to talk about each of these and how much I think they will increase in price, and then you can make a decision for yourself in terms of what you want to farm. So we have As here. As has always been very pricey. At some point in the game there was a live stream where the people watching were supposed to receive a As Prime, but they did something wrong so that they couldn't find the people who had been watching the stream, so they just had to give a free As Prime to everyone who logged in during that time. In spite of this, As has still managed to climb up as one of the most expensive frames, and just before he was reintroduced here with the last rotation, his rare part alone cost 100 platinum, so he's a pretty safe bet. Warframe is also pretty expensive, but that's mainly because he only have rare parts from Axie relics. That's sort of his gimmick. So I don't recommend farming this one, because obviously it's all rare parts and that makes it more difficult. So if you're gonna go for full sets, definitely try for As. Also, his rare part is just good in general, just for immediate value. These two are nothing special. They don't increase super duper fast. Necros is sort of mediocre, and Overrun is a little bit below the average. So those are pretty bad options all around. Valkyrie is just bad, and her price reflects that. Now Saren. Saren is an interesting frame because she, just when her prime was vaulted, she got a rework, a nerf that turned out to be a massive buff, and her price skyrocketed. So because of this, there has been a abnormally high demand for Saren, just generally speaking, and I think Saren Prime is the best Warframe in the entire game, just generally speaking. I think she's probably your best bet. That's where my money is at. If you just want to bet on one Warframe, it's this one. Ember, she's not bad. She's pretty decent. She's above average, but not that much. And Frost is just pretty bad. He really needs a rework. His parts are really rare, but no one really wants Frost for his abilities, and that hurts his price as well. I think that's everyone except for Nyx and Rhino, which is part of the last normal prime on vaulting before this event, so both of their relics are in too high abundance, therefore it's not worth investing in them at all in any form or shape. And I think that's everyone, right? Yes. Alright, now moving on to reinvesting. Finally, let's go ahead and check out my investment sheet. And this is really peak tryharding, okay? But if you really want to make the most plat, this is how to do it. Trust me on that one. Also, I'll explain why in a moment. I will say that this one is difficult to understand, and I've done an entire video on how this specific spreadsheet works. You might have to watch that one if you get confused at any point, but I'll do my best to try and explain it, but you know, without over explaining it, as a video of this already exists. So anyways, Titania Prime right now costs 300, and I project that once he gets vaulted, you'll have a growth rate of 0.3. That's 0.3 platinum a day. That's how much I think a price will increase roughly, and this is the profit per unit over a period of 9 months. So the overall profit, if you invest 200, we can change this number to 400 just to show you how that works. You'll see we'll get more profit. Now let's take a look at someone like Loki. Loki right now costs, well, just slightly more than this, but just about this price. He has a higher growth rate, so you're gonna get more platinum per day by holding on to one of these sets. However, because you can buy a much smaller amount of them, you just barely double your you slightly more than double your platinum. Whereas if we look over here again, it's quite a bit of a better reward to buy these because you can hold on to more of them, but it's a little bit more cumbersome to have more sets. So if you have a lot of platinum, then you might want to invest over here and so on and so forth, trade limits and stuff and whatever. You get it. I have a couple of other examples here. Prime Junk obviously is a really good way to invest. Done an entire video on this as well. But you can see here we put in our 400 and then we basically double it each time. And because this only takes 3 months, whereas the other takes about 9, we can keep reinvesting the platinum we make from the first rotation to the next. So investing 800 to get 1600 and 1600 to get 3200 platinum. Now this sheet can do even more than that because it has more ways of comparing these different two different investment opportunities basically. So master rank is how many trades you have available a day, and window of opportunity is how long this event is available. So for example here, this would be 7 days because that's how many days you have to trade. Essentially 8 I guess, but when this video comes out it will be 7. This is how much platinum you're willing to invest. And so basically if we look at something like so this, if we say this is as I set it up as Ivara because she was the next to be vaulted back then, but let's just say this is Titania Prime and this is Loki Prime, and we put down his cost to 140. Alright, so it turns out that my giant knob was in the way. So anyways, let's try and cover that again. Let's go and put this down to a bit more of a realistic rise, which is just be 200. So just to be clear, this is the amount you'll profit from each item. So in order to get 200 profit, you'll have to sell this when it costs 340, because 200 plus 140 is 340. So anyways, basically, because you only have 7 days to invest, and this is assuming that you have master rank 15. Let's just try and put it up to 30 just for an extreme example. So yeah, I just want to show you that for a second, but we're going to stick with 15 because I feel like that's a more interesting case. Anyways, so if you have 1,000 to invest, then you should absolutely go ahead and invest it in the cheaper option, which is basically Titania Prime right now, or Ivara Prime for 40. Decent enough still. Then, if you have more than 5,145, then you should go ahead and invest in Loki, because you don't have enough trades to effectively invest in this while it's available. Then afterwards, when Loki is no longer an option, you should go back to investing in Titania. Anyways, back to Future Me. So go ahead and play a bit around with the different options you have here for this event, and then find out what works the best for you with the amount of capital you have, the amount of trades you have available. Well, the time's going to be the same because, well, obviously you have 7 days to get this done. So anyways, I hope that this helped, and you know, again, if it did, please help out. I mean, obviously watch this through so you like this kind of stuff, and I do it all the time. Consider subscribing. It means the world to me. It really does. It really helps out the channel. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.